and to give you guys a little context, I represent a company called The Faces Of, and we're a corporate sponsor with Broker Agent Advisor. And I have been spending a lot of times, in fact, I've met some of you through our journey to go find members of this community that have their certificate of excellence. We're currently recognizing and highlighting agents in the Brokerage in the Month program. And through that program, I interviewed Tony Ray Baker. And Tony and I have since become friends. He's actually joined us with The Faces Of. And Tony's a special guy. He's he's a top producer. He's in the top 1% nationally, and he's done a lot of decorated things in this business. But what I enjoy most about Tony is his desire to lift the industry up and somehow play a role in positively impacting others, which is kind of in essence, this is what this Bragg community is all about. And hopefully you guys are all part of the Facebook group. But if we together can share ideas and help make each other better, then I think we're all collectively better off. And that's kind of Tony's whole MO. And in Tucson, where he's from, he's dedicated a lot of his time to training agents in that market. He's connecting, he can explain some of this stuff to you, but the reality is Tony's a giver. And so we were talking about how we can positively impact this community, and sort of came up with this idea of making available the system that Tony's created that's helped him be, super successful in Tucson. And there'll be some presentation to start as he walks through kind of why he built it the way he did. And we'll talk specifically about social media, but my hope is to have some dialogue and for you guys to be able to ask questions. I don't know exactly how many people will end up on this. And obviously it's tough to just start asking questions in an environment that could have up to 100 people participating. So if you don't mind, let's keep the questions to the chat for now and let's see how it goes. But the desire for Tony and I isn't to sit here and watch Tony present for the next 30 or 40 minutes. It's to share some insight, to share some things that have worked for him, and then to, collectively share ideas as a group. So with that, Tony, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing this time with me and making yourself available. And man, set the floor. What are we going to do today and for the next 6 meetings?
Yay. I hope we're going to have fun today because this all should be fun. That's why I'm in it, because it's fun for me. Everybody should have a copy of that workbook because I am going to go through the workbook. And of course, so once again, if you don't have a copy of the workbook, please put it in chat. Brian, what we could do, I think, is maybe monitor maybe every 5 minutes or so. You just stop me and we could take questions through the chat. So I can, so it'll be less interruptive to my brain, because I'm definitely an ADD person. If there's a squirrel that goes by, I'm gonna move. So that's probably why I'm such a nerd and a geek in the marketing world. And that's what I found that I love about real estate is marketing and advertising. And that's because I love all the new toys that are online every single day to play with. And that's how I started my entire business, was being that geek who just wants to play with all these toys. So I guess I'll give you a little background on me. I started in real estate about 26 years ago, 1994. And I went through my first year in real estate with a good local broker here in town. And they wanted me to cold call out of this big book. It was called the Coles Directory. And we had to go down the Coles Directory and just stick our finger on a number and just cold call until somebody agreed to let us in their house. And God, I hated every moment of that. And so then they literally put us in vans and would drop us off and take us into a neighborhood, just drop us off. And we'd have to go in pairs and door knock and try to convince sellers to sell their houses. And I had a moment where a guy with a shotgun cocked his gun, came running after us, screaming how much he hated realtors. And that was pretty much the end of it for me. So after about a year in real estate, my broker called me in the office and she said, hey, you're not going to survive or make it in real estate. So we're going to let you go. And I remember saying to her, I just don't get it. I hate everything about this community. I hate everything about your business. I just don't get it. How come it's like the worst? People think of us as bad people, and I didn't want to be affiliated with this. And I said, I just want to have a practice where people revere what I do for them, and they'll come to me and they'll wait for me until Tuesday to work with them. And I want that business. And it was funny because she looked at me and she moved her head and she said, you know, I'll tell you what, there's this coach named Joe Stump. He's just started in the business, and his whole premise is to teach what you're talking about. So I'll tell you what, go see him and come back. So I went and saw Joe, and I came back and I said to Rosie, who's with broker, I said, Rosie, give me one more year. I got it. And so that's how I started real estate. First year, I didn't sell a thing. And the second year, I started working with Joe Stump with Buyer Referral Only business coach. And I got it. I understood that I could create the business I wanted. So Joe said, Tony Ray, create the life you want first, and then we'll put your business in there. And Joe made me write down what I wanted in life. And that was a big order because a lot of us don't think about that. We just let life go by. And I sat and I made a plan. And my plan was how my future was going to look, how much money I wanted to make, how much quality of life I wanted, how many vacations. And so went through the process. And Joe said, if you're going to travel and you're going to take these vacations, let's start right now. I want you to plan 12 vacations this year. And I said, what? How am I going to work? And he said, just plan the 12 vacations and everything is going to work itself out. So I planned the 12 vacations. I committed to taking the 12 vacations, or I was going to painfully pay him if I didn't make it. And I scheduled 12 vacations. And the irony of this is the lesson he taught me was by scheduling the 12 vacation, I became more productive and better at and more efficient than anything I'd ever done because I had those 12 vacations planned. And if you sit and think about anytime you go to take a vacation, right before vacation, we get very efficient. We start organizing lists and we start planning and how we're going to get out of here, and how we're not the vacation itself, but how we're going to make it out and have organized it so we can take that vacation. And we get very productive in the last few days before a vacation. And so Joe taught me right then that was the key to quality of life for me. That was to plan out my life. So over the last 25 years, I take 6 vacations a year. I do not work nights and I don't work weekends. I will sometimes work half a day on Saturday morning, and it has always been that way. Last year, I have a partner and I have a full-time assistant. And last year we did 65 to 70 homes. I think it was 65. We helped people buy 65 homes. Our average price range is about 325,000. So we did a little over 21 million in sales. I did take 6 vacations last year. I did not work on weekends. I did not work on Sundays, and I did work sometimes half Saturdays. So I'm a guy with no college background. I'm a guy who just learned everything from the streets. So I'm telling you all this because if I can do it, you can do it. So that being said, if there's any questions you want to know about me right now, I'm happy to answer them. You can throw it in chat. And if not, I want to get on that workbook. And is anybody not okay, I've got a great question here. I see Raz. How do you show buyers if you don't work weekends? Raz, that's an awesome question. Here's the interesting thing. Because we don't work Sundays, our buyers don't expect us to show them properties on Sundays. I don't know. It's very interesting, but that's how it works. Because they know that we show properties every day of the week. And in this market especially, we coach our clients. It is imperative to be available. If a new house comes on the market and you're a buyer, I'm going to have you look at that property with me on a lunch break or after work or before work. I don't care what it is. You need to make the time to come out and go look at that property with me, because they're going to sell in 24 hours, right? And so somebody's saying boundaries, and it's true. If you set your boundaries, people revere what you do. They'll actually call you and say, hey, when are you available? And it's all positioning. It's all treating yourself with that respect that you deserve, and everybody else will treat you with the same. And it's reciprocity, right? So it's a good question. How long did it take you to get that schedule? Actually, I set that, if you're talking about me working Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, I actually set that up right away with my business coach in year 2 or 3, because he taught me I needed to treat myself like an attorney or a doctor. People actually make appointments to get to see them. So it's treating yourself with reverence. It's a big deal. It changes everything in life, from dating to working with clients and businesses. Treating yourself with reverence changes everything. All right, is there anybody who needs a workbook? Has everybody got one? If you don't have a workbook, please tell me in the thing so we can, Brian just posted the link. So I'm gonna, let's go over to the share screen there, and you guys tell me if you can see. Can everybody see my screen with this front page of the workbook?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm gonna be looking at my other monitor for a second. Actually, I can do it on this monitor so it doesn't look so weird. So on the first part of this workbook, I like mind mapping. You can see my brain. This is how it works. So this is Tony Ray's brain right here. I really love this way of learning, because what happens is as we start drawing little bubbles and circles and we add colors, we're using more of our senses to learn and to absorb information. So you can see here this is something when Brian and I started talking, I just started drawing bubbles. And so this is my brain on marketing. And what I look at for clients right now is, the majority of my business is by referral, and that's not by accident. It's by planning and it's by intention. And so we have our COI, or some of you call it SOI, which is sphere of influence or center of influence. And when I sat down one day and thought about this, I'm like, how do I stay where they are at all times? How do I stay where my clients and my friends are hanging out? They all do different things. And I want to see them, but we only have so much time. Okay, so, if somebody could please mute. I'm hearing me. Might be Barbie, maybe?
Yes, I'll mute.
Okay, thanks, honey. I can hear me coming back in my speakers.
Sorry.
So when I'm looking at my clientele, I'm thinking, how do I get to be with them as much as possible? But I only have so much time, and let's face facts, we can only spend probably the majority of our life we spend with the top 10 people, right? So I thought, how do I use marketing and advertising to work with the people that I love and trust and want to be around? And how do I get in front of them on a real regular basis? So I identified that they are in these 6 categories for the most part. So everybody's checking their emails. Everybody goes to the mailbox and checks snail mail. Everybody is on the phone. Everybody's texting. Texting is actually one of the most popular growing systems ever. It's taking over voicemail by far. And then they're on social media and they're on websites. And so you'll see those 6 little yellow bubbles. When I started thinking, okay, email, website, social media, phone call, snail mail, text. Okay, that seems pretty clear. What do I want to do to be in front of my clients in each one of those bubbles? And so you can see in the green bubbles are the things that I'm using, which I'm going to go through with you over the next 6 classes. So you can see, like on the emails, I have a home information, value, and equity email that I use. And I'm going to go over and I'm going to share what that is and how it works and why I chose it. On websites, valuable offers. On social media, Facebook Live. I'm going to give you a ton of stuff today on social media on how I think it through and how I plan it. So 1, I have time to have a life, and 2, so that I could get that social media done. And then on phone calls, you can see some of the things I use is I check in, I let them know I'm thinking about them. We do happy birthdays, snail mail. We have newsletter. I have other things I do with snail mail, which I'll go through with you. And texts, which I've started using more and more, are working out really well. So any questions? Let me see if I can blow this thing back up. I'm having a weird thing with this not wanting to go. Okay. Brian, I'm gonna, if you see somebody check in with a question, so I can keep this little box small and read my screen, will you just let me know?
Yep, I'm paying attention to chat. And I thought it was interesting, Tony, when you and I were talking before we set this up, that, you know, you admittedly said while we were all visiting prior to this starting that you've tried everything and you fall victim to shiny objects at times, which a lot of agents struggle with. But as you evaluated your return on investment in different types of marketing, the greatest return you got by far was leaning into your sphere of influence, right? How does Tony Ray Baker become more visible, differentiate himself, and stay present with those that like Tony Ray Baker? And if you do that well, it offers you the greatest return in your real estate business. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's absolutely it. ROI is a big deal. If we're not paying attention to ROI on every single thing we're looking at, then we're just throwing money and washing dollars. And we've all seen those agents. I know an agent who is spending $10,000 a month for Zillow leads, and they're just washing money. And they were working like crazy and almost had, you know, has started having health issues. And you have to really pay attention to these things. And the reality is that the largest ROI you're ever going to get, and I'll challenge anyone to show me differently, but the largest ROI you're ever going to see is from the people who like, love, and trust you. They're already your sales team. They love you. They're already going to tell others about you. So the goal is every day is to figure out how to make sure you stay in front of them. And that's ROI. I mean, that's big ROI. Because these campaigns I'm going to show you over the next 6 classes, this stuff is, I mean, I'm cheap when it comes to this stuff. I look for stuff that's really cost effective and really inexpensive, and what I can do to spend as little money as possible to get the largest amount of ROI. So this is not stuff I just make up. So my hopes are, well, no, not my hopes. You will, every time you take one of my classes, today we're going to do social media. So if you look at this book, I've set up 6 numbers for you. The first one is going to be social media. When we're done with class today, I want you to write just one thing you're going to do that you're going to execute as far as social media. And so by the time we're done with social media, your brain hopefully will want to explode, but you're going to pick something, and I want you to write it down and commit to it on that front of that book. So number 1 is your social media page, okay? So I'm going to zoom through because I have them out of order, but you can see social media page has a little cute Google store on there, the Google business logo. And then you've got some social media logos. So everybody wants to go there in your workbooks. I'm hoping that you have printed these workbooks or you have a way to write on them. That's why I left it all blank. So you can see what's going on with in your brain, and you'll be able to look at this later. So I'm going to show you really quick. I'm going to move this over really quick. That's what mine looks like. Okay, that's where my brain goes. That was this morning. I wrote that out in about 40 minutes. Just started writing everything out of my head. That's what we're going to go through, okay? So the first thing I want to do for you is we're going into social media is I want to congratulate all of you because you basically have just been hired as the new Visitors Bureau executors for your city, okay? You have to start thinking about marketing in a different way. And when we look at marketing, the funny thing is everybody's trying to run stuff to their consumers that says, I just sold a house. I just sold a house for top dollar. I'm the best realtor on the planet. No one does more than me. But I want to ask you, how often does your consumer, your clients, your friends, how often do they buy and sell houses? right? What is the average right now? 7 to 10 years? Is that what's going, does anybody know that number? I think it's 7 to 10 years is what I think we're moving now. Maybe our stats will be off because of COVID, because a lot of people made moves because they could for the first time ever. They got to make a move. So I want you to remember, however, that nobody cares that you're a realtor at all until they need to buy or sell a house. So now what do? So we have to figure out how to give them valuable information and stay in front of them with content that actually is important to them and makes sense to them and shows them who you are and makes you top of mind. So when the day comes that they run into a friend or they need to buy or sell a house, that they only think of you. They become your raving fans. And so social media marketing, I'm hoping you start thinking of this differently. A lot of people were using social media marketing to go after fish that they can't catch. They're trying to get that one person in a million that needs to buy a house in their city. But the reality is, in Tucson, Arizona, I have 700 houses for sale, and I have the need for 3,500 today, right? So finding that 1 out of 700 that's going to buy is going to be really tricky, right? So you got to be bigger in the game than just thinking small time talking about real estate. You have to be in the game to talk about everything you can to bring value to your consumers. Okay. So here's some facts for you to write down. And as you think about them in your brain, they'll resonate later. But social media right now, I was looking at the trend numbers. The average daily user on social media is now, this year in 2021, in the first quarter, they are using their social media at 2 hours and 20 minutes or more. That should give you, holy moly. They're on social media as much as TV as we used to be on TV. We're actually less TV and more social media coming, right? The other thing to think about when you're doing social media is that 99% of all your social media users, 99% now are on their cell phones. It's a really big deal. So I have to make sure that whatever I'm doing on my social media is going to fit on that screen. That's going to look nice on that screen. That's going to work for them on that screen. That means I'm going to think about things differently. Like, do I want HD high quality videos on my Facebook? No, I don't. I want low quality. They're going to be good enough and look pretty enough, but I want the guy on the streets with no Wi-Fi using a cell phone. I want him to be able to download the video and watch it, right? He can't do that if it's HD high quality. So you have to think these things through and that's part of identifying who your consumer is. Your consumer right now, 82% of the United States of America is using social media, 82%. So almost everybody's using social media. They're on for over 2 hours, and 99% of them are actually now using their cell phone device for social media. And now, then we have to go to the muddy waters about social media. And the muddy waters are, you need to be on social media, but how, if you're like me, as soon as I light up Facebook, there's so many little things to look at. The squirrels are everywhere. There's rabbits in every direction. Oh, I could buy that new toy. Oh, look at what Susie's doing. I mean, it's just crazy, right? You can easily lose time, hours. I mean, seriously, you can lose a lot and waste a lot of time being on social media. And what I've noticed is some people go on social media and it's a mood changer and they come back depressed, angry. They have some very negative attitudes after being on social media. The same as somebody who watches crime shows all day long. How could you be happy after that? So those are muddy waters. And so part of today is we want to create solutions to stay out of the weeds and the muddy waters. And I'm going to show you, we need to have a plan. We need to work on social media with intention, and we need to get in and get out. If you're going to be on social media for fun, do it on your own time, not on work time. So if you're working Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, like I am, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, I have a blocked out time for social media. that's to work. If I want to go in and hang out with Susie and friends at 8 o'clock at night, that's personal Tony Ray time. That's fun time. It is not work time. So you have to identify this stuff in your brain. And I'm going to help show you how we're going to do that. So again, solutions for social media muddy waters are, we're going to create a plan. We're going to work with intention on whatever it is we're doing when we're in there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and we're going to get in and get out. So I have some friends who actually have little timers that do they, those little sand timers? You can buy sand timers with different minutes. So let's say you're going to spend 30 minutes on social media. You're going to flip your sand timer that has 30 minutes worth of sand and put it in front of you. And when that sand runs out, you get out. So if you can't control it, get something, a device. You could tell Siri to tell you when 30 minutes is up, if that's what your plan is. Any questions about that? See anything?
Hey, Tony, there was a question, and it's something I'm sure you'll get into as we go along, but one of the guests asked, which of the platforms are performing at the highest level, right? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat. And I'm sure you'll have your own opinions on that, but that was offered as a question.
Yep, we are gonna go over that next, actually. So that's awesome. Yeah, so let's talk about the different platforms. I'm only gonna cover a couple, the ones I really super care about, and I really care about you getting into. So if it was me, here's my, after knowing my research and everything I look at, I'm gonna tell you my top 3. Google, absolutely number 1. Now, we don't think of Google business as social media, but let me tell you what, I have seen more business in the last 2 years from Google business than any platform. And I'm going to show you how to use Google business to get that business, but there's nothing that's going to compete with Google business coming in the future. It is amazing. So put Google business as your number 1 platform. Number 2 is still Facebook. And number 3 is Instagram. There's a thing called an MAU, which is the monthly active users on a product on one of these platforms. The monthly active users on Facebook is 2.7 million users on Facebook, right? Instagram MAUs is 1.2 million. So it's more than half. Facebook is more than half of Instagram. Is that right? Did I say that right? Doesn't make sense to me. So 2.7 million Facebook, 1.2 million on Instagram. Okay. The other guys are down pretty low, like Snapchat. I believe they're at, like, right now they're 700,000 or 800,000. They're not in those numbers per month. So I look at time. So for me, I have so much time, right? I only get so much. By the way, what you don't know about me is I also, besides running real estate, I also own a trolley tour company. I'm on a few different committees. I teach classes every month, and I actually run one of the largest websites in Arizona, which is not a real estate website. So if I'm telling you all that, because if I can manage to run all those things and real estate and do the business and still work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, I'm telling you, so can you. It's all about time, not management, because none of us can manage time. It's about time, probably organizing time, right? Organizing time correctly. So Facebook, Google, and Instagram are the 3 that I'm going to spend my time on. And yes, it's fun to do TikTok, and I think it's cute, but I've been there and it's not my thing. So I'm not going to spend my time on TikTok. And I don't have any numbers to show me that someone's going to pick up the phone and go, hey, I saw you on TikTok. I want to buy a house. So I just don't have those numbers to prove that. And so I'm not a TikTok guy yet, right? So the first quarter, let's talk about Facebook. The first quarter of 2021, Facebook had 1.88 billion users globally. I just recently switched to Remax because of international and national connections, because I do a ton of relocation business. And because of that, I just moved into Remax from a local broker who had been with for 20 years. And there came a point where I realized I just needed to move into connection, right? I needed to have international and national connectivity. So I started studying all the different brokers available. Remax was the fit for me, so I moved into Remax. So I'm in Remax because I'm looking at these things like 1.88 billion users globally on Facebook. Well, I do a ton of relocation. My systems are set up for relocation. So it makes sense for me because I'm seeing a bunch of people now, not just from the United States, but I'm actually getting people from different countries. And so that was a reason I did that, a reason I looked at that. So Facebook, global, right? In the United States in 2021, over 60% of all your social media users are on Facebook. So that's why I love Facebook. It's still the platform. It's still got a lot of people on it. So that's Facebook. Instagram, I'm not a big Instagram guy, but it is, it's owned by Facebook, and Facebook feeds Instagram, and it is a different demographic. So what I'm looking at is future for Instagram, and I'm going to start revving up because the majority of your Instagram kids, I think, I'm calling them kids, but they're 24 to 34, something like that, 26 to 34. They're in the group that's going to become the next generation of buyers soon. So if you could move people from Instagram to Facebook, you can move them from Instagram to your website or move them anywhere to get more information about you, then Instagram can be very successful. But you're not going to get a phone call most likely from an Instagram picture. You're going to get it because they like your photographs, they like what you're posting, they're following you because you're the city visitors bureau posting beautiful things about your city, and they're going to see those things. And when it comes time, they know you're a real estate agent, they're going to start tracking you. They're going to go to your Google business page, they're going to go to your website, and they're going to start finding out more about you. And that's kind of where I look at how we move people from Instagram or Facebook. We move them to the next step, right? Does that make sense to everybody? Do we have any hot questions, Brian, on that stuff? Okay.
Everybody's being a good listener right now, Tony.
Or they've all passed out. Has anyone passed out? If you passed out, please let me know. So if your consumer wants to know more about you, trust me, they're going to find you. The first thing they're going to do is Google you. Does everybody agree with that? Is anybody who disagrees with that nowadays? You're going to be Googled.
I agree.
Yeah, right? Is anybody on here that doesn't know what the consumer finds if they Google you? Have you all looked at have you Googled yourself?
Absolutely.
It's super important to Google yourself. Let's Google me. You can all see my screen, right? So what happens right away is I can see that my Google business photo is showing up here. That's super important. I didn't even get my name spelled properly. Isn't that cool? And it still worked because Google knows me. So I can see right here, this is what the consumer is going to get. They're going to get pages of Tony Ray. This stuff doesn't come by accident. The photographs and stuff that are up there are because what happens is I've alt tagged these photographs. That's a whole nother class. But when you go through websites and you're on pages and you can put alt tags and describe what these photos are. This is Tony Ray Baker, Realtor, Tucson. If I put that alt tag, those photos are showing up first when somebody types in Realtor Tucson. If they click on one of those photos, it's going to direct them right to the place, the source that I created to find me. So that's important to know. That's what Google's doing for you for free. You can see that Google, you can see the rankings. This is the broker I just left. So that will stay there for a while because that was where I was for 20 years. But you can also see my own website comes up number 2. Facebook is our 3rd top one. And then interesting, you can see that my new broker, Remax, has already climbed into the top 5. That's pretty interesting because their website is that big and powerful that it's actually moving. And I don't have much information on the Remax website. So the fact that they're moving me up into that position is pretty amazing. If you go over here, you're going to see my website and my information, and you're going to see that there's reviews on here. There's directions to my office. Google does all that through your Google Business Platform. If I click on this website, you get to see the Tony Ray website coming up here. It's the information I want you to know. That's kind of a key statement, right? It's the information I want you to know. This is my business. This is my office online. You just walked in my door. This is where I want to eventually get you every single time, is to come into my office. I want you here. I want you to come see all the fun stuff I want you to know about. I want you to know about the businesses we refer. I want you to know about the fun things to do in Tucson. I want you to know about our weather. I want you to know about our awards. I want you to know about my favorite restaurants. I want you to see all of the things that we offer as a city and as a real estate agent. I'm going to try to get this thing out of there for you. Sorry about that.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
Quick question. It was offered in the chat, and I was thinking about the same thing. If you go back to Google, that whole business section on the right-hand side, that's called Google My Business, right? And you had to go send that information to Google and build that out with Google, right? It doesn't just happen.
Yep, I'm going to go through that. Yes, absolutely. This does not just happen. Yeah. And that's why we're going to go through this, why this is my favorite, absolute #1 thing for social media right now, and how you're going to, I got a little plan for you. Hopefully, my recommendation would be it's your #1 thing to do on the front of the book when we end today. But yes, I'm going to go through that with you. So understand the ultimate goal is for any type of marketing is I got to get you to take baby steps. You're the consumer. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're checking me out a little bit online. You found me on Facebook. You found me on Instagram. You found me on Google, wherever it is. But the reality is my goal always is to get you from any social media platform or any search engine. My goal is to get you over here. And that is to my website. Because once you get into the website, you can read my words. That's Tony Ray talking, okay? Tony Ray wrote these pages. Tony Ray talks about his favorite restaurants. You start hearing my voice, my language. You start getting to know me. You might run into a client review, other people talking about me, right? You might run into some video. This is one of the things we're doing now is video testimonials. And I can't recommend these high enough, but we're actually going out and we're letting other people talk about us on video. Adam and Marta here, I wish I could quantify them, but that video, I cannot tell you how many people tell me they've seen them talking about me on that video. It's crazy. The really cool thing is that Marta is from Colombia, and she just came to work for me. She came to work with us as a buyer's agent. So we're super excited because now Marta's gone into real estate and she was a client of ours 10 years ago. So all of this is super important because there's no reason to do social media and there's no reason to do all this marketing and advertising if you don't have some place to get them to. Because when they get here, here's the offer. I have different things to give them. I can give them a free relocation package if they're not from Tucson, Arizona. I have a beautiful relocation package we designed. Matter of fact, Brian, at the end of this, we could somehow, if we can figure it out, Brian, I could get that relocation package as a Google Drive link. We could give that to everybody. You can't use it because you're not in Tucson, but you can cheat off of it and create your own. I did create the whole thing on Canva. So if you're not using canva.com, go play with that. It's the easiest thing to play with ever. I want my clients to see the faces of Tucson. I want them to go there and see all the beautiful people in this community that I really love and adore, and the people that I think make our community great. And that's why I have the Faces of Tucson logo on my site. I want them to go find my app. I have an app. I created it last year. Came from my past, which was how do I give my clients my little black book of information of all my favorite things to do and all my favorite people and all my vetted professionals that work for us. And at 2 o'clock, I don't want them to call me in the middle of the night because their plumbing broke. I want them to get my plumber, right? So I decided, we used to give my little black book, which was a book full of business cards, and I used to hand it to everybody. And then I kept trying to fill the little book with new business cards, and it really became a pain in the butt. So last year we created our own app. I would highly recommend you go to the app. You can download it. Just search Tony Ray. All you have to do is type in Tony Ray into Google or Apple. You'll see this little app pop up, and then you can start looking at that app and what I'm offering to our consumer and what I'm offering to anybody who's coming into town. That app is a great outline for you to create a website or an app. So take it, cheap, still, whatever you need. It's all yours. You can't, I give it to you for free, right? It's your outline. It's perfect. It's so cool. Let me tell you what the coolest thing about the app is. It's on everyone's phone. Now everybody sees Tony Ray every time they open their phone. How many hours do they spend on social media? 2 hours and 20 minutes. Every time they have to pick up their phone, the Tony Ray face is right there, reminding them that I am in real estate and that I am offering them a whole bunch of fun stuff, places to eat and things to do in Tucson, Arizona. So the app is something I want them to see. So it's here. I want them to find Google reviews. So it's on my website. So I encourage you to make sure if you don't have a website, you got to get one. So, and that's another class, but get a website and get somebody to create it for you and get 10 pages up there. Go to my website. It's ctucsonhomes.com. You can use my website as your outline. You can take those pages. What do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. If you created a 7-page website, you'd be off to a much better start than most of your other realtor friends. Okay. So Google, we're going to go to any questions about that? I can go on for hours. Like I can teach this class for like 2 days straight. I've done it. So you have to stop me. Yes.
Hey, Stan.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, who did you get to build an app for you?
Me. I'm a total nerd, and I learned HTML for Dummies when I wanted to build my first website and I had no money. So I built my first website. And then one of the things I realized is that whatever I give comes back twofold. And one of the neatest thing is I only hire local. I won't spend money out of my own city. I only support local. I try to really put the money back into my own town. And so one of the things I started realizing was there was so many younger people out there that knew more than me. So I found a young guy many years ago, and I hired him to help me, and I taught him everything I knew about building websites. And I had that guy start helping me take over some of the basic daily stuff I wanted done on the website. And so he would have a job and he would have income, and then I could take that off my plate a little bit. And the cool thing is over the last several years, he's still working for me. He has his own company. He builds websites. He's a master code writer, which is really awesome. He's become super skilled at writing code. And when I called him and said, let's learn to do an app, he was all in, and him and I fumbled our way through creating our own app. There are companies out there, but I don't know who to connect you to, but there are companies out there, lots of them now, that are building apps because there's millions of apps. So I'm sure there's somebody who could build you one. And Dan, the hardest part is the content. So all you'd have to do is look at my app and use it as an outline, and then you could give it to another company and say, copy Tony Ray's app. That's all you have
I've
to
got
say.
your app here now.
Yeah. Everybody, this is all recorded, so you have it, that I just told you, copy my app, right? There's no stealing my content. It's totally okay. But yeah, so great question. Perfect. Yeah. And so that's the app. So let's get into Google. Ready for Google? So I'm going to tell you how and what you need to do to get on Google. The first thing you have to do, let's see if I can get us back to that page. The first thing you have to do to get here and to get your name up there is you have to identify your business. So you have to be on the map. You have to be on the Google map. And in order to get on the Google map, you go to Google Business. If you're in your Google, right here, you can see, let me see if I can remember how they do this. No, I'm sorry, I wasn't even thinking to put this on there for you. But if you go to your Google, oh, there it is. Right in here, so that it's the hamburger right next to your icon when you're in Gmail. You would go to the little hamburger, click on it, and then you see all the free Google toys they give you, and then there's even more. There's so many free Google things, it's crazy. But right at the top right is the Google icon that's on your workbook page, and you're just gonna click on that. And see it says, stand out with your Google free business profile. What they're going to do is help you walk through the steps. They're going to tell you to manage it now. You're going to put in your address and all your information, and Google's going to send a postcard to the address that you're wanting to pinpoint on that map. So I want my Remax office address pinpointed on the map. So I gave them the address for the office. I called the secretary at my Remax office, told her that I'm putting myself on the map and she'll be receiving a postcard from Google about me, and to call me as soon as she got the postcard. And she got the postcard, it has a code number on it. And I went into the Google business platform and put in the code, and instantly Google puts me on the map. Now, when you get your Google report, it's totally awesome because the Google report says 518,000 people looked at Tony Ray last year on that map. They saw my name. They saw this. So the first thing and most important thing you're going to do is get into your Google, go to the little hamburger, go to the little Google icon, and get started there. So put that as an action item to do. You're going to give them your address, the name of your company. Remember, whatever you put as the name of the company is how it's going to show up. So you see mine says Tony Ray Baker Realtor. I could have put Tony Ray Baker Remax Realtor. I could put whatever I want. I have Tony Ray Baker Realtor. So that tells them, the consumer sees this, and this is pretty standout when you look at that. There's one of our favorite little restaurant hubs. But look at how I'm standing out there. So you got to get on the map. Does that make sense to everybody? All right. So once you get into your Google Center, then you're going to have, I'm going to show you this. You're going to have a Google account, and I'm going to try to switch over. It's not wanting to switch me over. See if I can show you in here. It's going to give you personal info, and you're going to start filling in. You can see my birthday, addresses, profiles, data. You're just going to fill it out like you do on your Facebook profile and so forth. Once you get that done and you have your Google account, you're actually going to have a spot in there where you're going to get to put picture posts, and you're going to get to put event posts and all kinds of things that Google is going to promote for you for free.
Hey, Tony, we got a question. Sandy, are you raising your hand with a question?
Yes, thank you so much. I was wondering, I have a Google account linked with my brokerage right now, but
Okay.
is it something that I should maybe set up more of like for a personal, not that I ever foresee leaving this brokerage because they are totally awesome, but in case that happened, I would hate to set something up and then have it not be editable by myself.
God, I love this question. Thank you. Thank you. The reason I am able to do what I do so quickly and efficiently is because I always think I'm the brand, not my broker. So your question is very relevant, because what happened is I love my broker of 20 years, but there was a local broker and I needed more connectivity, right? So I never thought I would leave this broker, but when I needed to leave the broker, I branded me, not them. And so all I had to do was go into my Google business account, change my address and the name, and tell them that I've moved my office, and they sent me a new postcard and they moved me on the map. And then I changed the logo to Remax. So yes, that's a great thing. Set it up for you, not the broker. because the broker should already be pinned on the map anyways, their office, right? They should already be there. So yes, that's a really good question. Is there any other questions on that?
Go ahead, Sandy, if you've got a follow-up.
No, I guess that would make sense. So I can see that you have Tony Ray Baker Realtor at gmail.com. So I would maybe set up my whole Gmail account under that,
Yeah,
like a personal account per se.
I don't, yeah, and I don't use the Gmail. I don't give that out. It's kind of a personal Gmail, but what I do use is Tony Ray at ctucsonhomes.com is my email because I want to always advertise my website. So Tony Ray at ctucsonhomes is my email, but it forwards to that Gmail account. And then when you open your Gmail account, then you have the right to obviously open your Google business account and start playing with Google Drive and all the free toys they give you. So it is worth spending every bit of time you can to get into the Google rabbit hole there because they give you a lot of free stuff that's very business. I mean, it really is all about business. So
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. So when you get on Google, and I can see Brian, how long did we allot for this? Because I want to be respectful of people's time. I have plenty of time, but man, I can see I could go on forever with this stuff.
Yeah, I'm seeing that we're 55 minutes in, and I'm sure there's a lot more to do.
Yeah.
I set it up for sake of calendar for an hour. I think Zoom just keeps going, and I have another 30 minutes past 12:30 Eastern time. Obviously, everybody here may have previous things that they are responsible to go do or whatever, but I think we should push through the content you wanted to push through so that it ends up in a recording on Facebook Live inside the Facebook group. And also so we have a recorded file we can put on the YouTube channel with Chad and Broker Agent.
Yeah, so I'll push through. I won't be insulted if you pop off of the thing. I understand that I'm running over. I'm going to give you, I do have some more content to give you on what to post and how to think about what to post. So I'll go through that. If you can't stay on, then you can come back and watch the end of the video, which would be awesome. So I'm not going to show you how to get into the Google Business Center, but once you're in the Google Business Center, they're going to give you a place called Photos. I want you to post a pic every single day on Google. Right now, I just got notified that one of my photographs has had over 100,000 views. Those are important because people can click on them and they go back to me. So what do you post on those pictures? Again, I sell Tucson, Arizona, not Tony Ray. So I post pictures of my city. When I'm out, if we're out looking at property or I'm out at a restaurant, I take pictures of everything. I'm a shutterbug with that beautiful thing called the phone. I'm out there shooting pictures. So I post pictures of the city, my neighborhoods that I like, houses when I'm there. Puppies are popular, flowers, cactus flowers in Tucson, big thing. Everybody loves these gigantic cactus flowers. What's going on in the weather? Last night I posted on Facebook, I posted a weather thing that was going on. That was my weather last night. We got hit with a massive monsoon and you can see that's my backyard flying away. I post anything local shops. If I'm going to Sine Thai downtown Tucson, I'm going to take a picture of Sine Thai and say this is the best Thai food on the planet because I love her Thai food. Food porn is still popular, by the way. I'm going to post events, photos of events, people having fun at those events, long shots of people in events. People love seeing people. We all like eyeballs and teeth. So that's super important. So those are things I post on the photographs in Google. Again, you'd use those for Instagram and you repurpose those for your Facebook, right? Same photos. In the Google system, it's going to let you create a post. It's not just a photo. There's two sections. One's photos only, like Instagram. One's creating a post in Google, like Facebook. It gives you a place to put text and photographs or video. So when you create one of those posts, what are you going to put in there? I put open house events. I put just listed houses, houses coming soon. Those work really great because I get in Arizona, I get 30 days to market a coming soon. I get to put up just sold, how I sold the property, what the results were, how much the seller got, and marketing samples to another prospective seller on how we did our marketing. So I get to post all that in the Google system. You will start getting emails updating you on everything you did in Google. And it's quite amazing because then you start tracking and analyzing which posts the people that are following you like the most, and you know how to recreate more. Okay. I shouldn't have to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this. Don't ever post ever politics, religion, insults, angry rants, negative anything. If it doesn't make you feel good or it doesn't inspire you, then please don't post it. You can go to my Facebook page and nobody dares ever post negative on my Facebook page because that is the people I attract. I don't attract those people. So my comments are always really lovely. And that's the life I lead, is we attract those kind of people. I don't deal with all that stuff, but you should not ever post any of those things. Remember, so I'm going to jump off of Google because I gave you the basics there. Anybody got a question on Google? Good.
You may have touched on it, Tony, because I was reading the chat and doing some things, but someone specifically said, how do you add a photo to Google? Did you touch on that? I thought I heard you talk.
Yeah, so I'd have to open my business account, but when you get into, I don't think I have it open. Let me just see really quick. No, I don't have it on here. So when you get a business account with Google, after you got your little identifier postcard thing and you're all set up, they're going to give you a thing. It says photos and create a post, and you click on photos and you just drag the photo in and it pops in. It takes a second. I literally schedule myself just to drag a photo in every morning and then I'm out. I bounce in, I bounce out. So it's really super fast. And you'll see how simple it is. You just drag and drop. For the post, you drag and drop as well, and then you type in your content, which I copy paste a lot of times over, and then I just hit send.
There was another question, Tony. Do you get a lot of leads specifically from Google? And if I'm listening and have gotten to know you a bit, Google helps you drive traffic to your website, right? And that website generates a significant amount of production for you.
Yeah, so the website I do 8 to 10. My websites generate about 8 to 10 million in sales a year. And they became an odd leg of the business. I always was by referral. And then all of a sudden these websites started bringing business. And so now they're a big part of our business. And yes, Google drives people to the website. But interestingly, in the last 2 years, I've had, and I track everything and I put it in my CRM, but I can go and click now on Google Direct in my CRM, and it actually, I have 4 or 5 clients that have come through, and when I asked them, how did you find me? They Googled Realtor Tucson and they saw all the Google stuff on me and dialed direct through Google. They clicked the button. So you also get an email that tells you every time you answered calls or missed calls on the Google Direct phone calls and how many people are watching you and looking at you on their system. There's nothing like their analytics. It's really amazing. But more and more people are calling me direct and saying, dude, I saw you had 30 some reviews on Google and you're the best realtor on the planet. And I'm like, I didn't say that, but they are assuming and making these things up by what they read and see on Google. So it's pretty cool. It's really awesome.
Hey, Tony,
Yes.
to be specific, you're not running Google business ads. You're
Nope.
just doing Google business unpaid.
Correct. That's the other cool thing. I've never spent a penny. Like
Nice.
the word, like I should tattoo free across my head. It's like free. It's really cool. Yeah, it's really awesome. Yeah, it's like Facebook is free unless you boost a post, right? So yeah, Google's free. You can run ads, but it's free. And I'm doing really well with free. So let's jump into Facebook then. Got to know the rules real quick. Facebook doesn't like text on their pictures. They're trying to get away from that because of the Instagram thing. So make sure if you're going to put a little text on a photograph, it's got to be, I think, under 20%. Always check the Facebook rules. They do change often. So last time I checked, it was like text has to be less than 20% of the photograph. Do not write in the content. Do not put any commands to the consumer. Do not write like me, love me, share this, go here, do this. Do not put commands into the text. On your business, you have to, as a real estate agent, the rules are you have to put a signature on every post. I do not know why you would not. So if you go to one of my posts, you will actually see there's my signature right there. Can all see that? I have that in a Word doc. I just copy paste it every single time. I have actually, when I post, I have another signature that has hashtags. So you can see all my hashtags and my signature for that post. So you can see I'm just popping in, I'm copy pasting my signature. Here's the thing, the consumer's never gonna see most of the signature because they only get to see the top 5 lines of the Facebook post. So your signature hides below here, right? The only way they see it is if they want to. And so I'm not being obnoxious, I'm not in front of them. This one, I only put 2 lines of text. So you can see my little signatures right here, and then see more, you can see more of my signature. Copy my signature, but don't use my name and stuff, but use yours. Use your stuff. But think about this and put your hashtags in. Don't reinvent the wheel. Copy paste this every time. You can post in 2 seconds. It's really easy. Make sure that I always post to my real estate business Facebook page first, which is this one, facebook.com/ctucsonrealestate. Go there, follow me. You can always copy me, right? You can copy my posts. You can see what I'm posting and do the same thing. Now you have content. What I do is I make the post here first, because if I want to boost it for $5, I want it to get to more people, or I want to do anything with it, it has to go through the business page first. And then what I do is click share, and I share it over to my personal page if I want it to be on the personal page. The personal page is where all my COI hang out. So it's important to be there. But again, I'm posting valuable stuff to the COI page, more real estate stuff to this page, okay? Make sure if you're gonna pay $5, which I highly recommend to push those videos and things out, make sure that you check mark the box that says special category and then click housing, so that your ad will go through and they'll let it push out. Otherwise, you'll get rejected. And then anytime you reply to somebody on your post, I make a post, Brian Weiss pops in from the Faces of, and Brian says, Tony Ray, that weather looks horrendous. This is crazy. Is that normal for Tucson? I do not want to respond with yes, right? Facebook wants me to respond with more than 10 words. And better if you could ask a question in the conversation, because what Facebook is monitoring is, are you creating a thread of dialogue? They don't want you talking to people. They want you talking with people. Okay. So start conversations. That's where Facebook will push your post more and more and more. Okay. And then I'm going to give you a quick hit list of things that I post. Inspirational quotes. I write the quote on top, beautiful photo in the post. I post the faces of people that are being recognized on our Faces of Tucson. I post local business reviews to support my local businesses. I review them, or I share a review from another site. I post any city award or accolade I can find. And that's content you should really be focused on, is best Tucson. So I'll Google Tucson city best, and Tucson comes up. Tucson's the best place for the IFEA award. Tucson's the best place to retire. Top 10 for lowest taxes. I look for those and I create a post to those. I post videos. I post pages from my own website. I post pages from my app so I can get them back to my app to get there. I post food porn, all of my favorite restaurants. And what's really working right now is Chicken Soup for the Soul stories. Does everybody know what Chicken Soup for the Soul is? There's those little books that have those little inspirational stories. So if you, what's really interesting, I'm going to scroll through. Oh, by the way, my goal is to get shares. I don't care about likes and loves and emojis. Those are all irrelevant. The goal is to get a dialogue going in the Facebook page, and the goal is to get people to share, because when they share this post, right? Hi, I'm Jonathan. Say hello to him, right? When they share the Tony Ray Baker post, my name follows all those posts with every time they're shared, right? Well, look at this. 37 people commented about Jonathan the Turtle, and 43 people shared the post. The law of 100 says if those 43 people shared the post, that I might have gotten 40 times 100 shares with my name.
13 others.
Somebody's rocking it out. Here's one of my recent posts. Let me see if I could show it to you. And this post is a chicken soup for the soul story, and it got a few hundred. There it is. You could go copy, so you could go steal this right now off my page, copy the text, put it on yours, steal the photo, and post it, and watch what happens. I'm going to encourage you to do it. June 30th, 67 people shared, 190 people responded. That's a big post. And it's a chicken soup from the it's a story. It's a sweet, inspirational story. Go copy it, send it out. Don't share mine. Don't share mine. Go copy, paste the text and copy, paste the photo and make it your own. And then watch how many share it, okay? So that's some ideas for you for things that you should post. The other thing I do is I find my favorite social media pages and websites. Everybody right now should have a thing. You should be able to go to a place called onlyinyourstate.com. Man, this does really, really well for me. I go to onlyinyourstate.com and you can look up your state. You can look up your city. You just go like, here's where am I? Atlanta, where somebody was in North Carolina, right? Well, let's go to Boston. So I can go to Boston and I can go and I can look at all of these things that they're posting. And I can say, today let's show 14 things people miss most when they leave Boston. That's a cool post. I can then take that right now and I can turn it. Look at how cool this is. Dunkin' Donuts. They talk about clam chowder. I can take that link. I can throw it into Facebook and instantly I'm talking about Boston, my city, right? So I share stuff from onlyinyourstate.com. I share it every time they send it to me. Now, the cool hack about this site is join their email list for your city. They'll email you on a daily basis. All you have to do is look in the email, copy, paste it into Facebook, and boom, you've got a post to your clientele, okay? So that's my hack for Only in Your State. So go to social media pages and websites, write them down, and then share their stuff onto your pages. Sharing from other people that's stuff of value is a big yes for your clientele. They're going to love it. I share community news and info. I share any local business reviews on other sites. I share other people's places to see, any fun thing to do indoors in Tucson, any fun thing to do outdoors. I share stuff about hiking, weather tips, food reviews, anything on other sites, I will share over. That is of value to my consumers, okay? Our folks live and play in Tucson. They want to know what's going on in Tucson. All right.
Tony, I think it's an important nuance, and I don't know if anybody's gathering it. The way I have is I've kind of observed how you do what you do, but obviously I work with agents all over the country. What's critical in Tony's, the way that Tony does all this is his desire to be seen as an ambassador for Tucson. It's not about real estate. Tony wants to be someone that's an influencer and knows Tucson better than anybody else. And he wants the community to realize he cares that much about it. And that influence and that differentiator in the way that he positions his content as compared to all the other just listings and just solds that you'd likely see on somebody else's Facebook, social media, just has Tony more visible. He's more top of mind. And as you're walking through all the things you share, almost none of it's real estate content. Like, I think that's worth pointing out. Sorry, just an observation.
Yeah, no, you're right. And when we get into, I might have another class for us later on at the end. I might throw in a video class if everybody wants it, but that's content. I do other content. I'll update people on marketing, on the market in video, but you're right. what I promote is Tucson, Arizona, all the things I love about it. I promote, I'm like super thrilled with the Faces of Tucson, because now I get to promote the people like that make my community awesome. And I get to promote all the local businesses which we love and we support. So that's who I promote. And that all just comes back. So my last thing I want to do is give you a to-do list. I got 8 items for you to write down for you to do. So this is how you're going to decide what you're going to do for your marketing plan. And I want you to take the time, spend a couple hours, write this down, make decisions, and put it into effect. And you'll be able to start using social media with much more intention and planning, and you'll be much more time efficient on social media. Remember, get in, get out. I only want you in social media for a certain amount of time per day. So on your to-do list, the number one thing I want you to identify is, who is your consumer? Who are they? I know my consumers. My consumers are like me. They're adventurous, they're kind, they're trustworthy, they respect others' time. That's the people I attract. I know who they are. And because of that, I know they like food and they like wine and they like the things that I like, right? So that's my consumer. So you can identify your consumer most likely if you write down who you are. You probably know who they are. I want you to choose number 2. I want you to choose your social media platforms. I recommend you don't go more than 3. My 3 are Google Business, number 1. I am putting my energy in there right now. Facebook, number 2. Instagram, number 3. That's my 3. So number 2 is choose your social media. Number 3, I want you to have a time management organizational situation where you put in what day you're going to play with social media, what time of day, and how much time you're going to do it. For me, it's 2 hours in the morning every day, Monday through Friday, is social media time. I'm dedicating that time to social media. Okay. Block it on your calendar. Number 4, you're going to take this really cool toy called a phone computer thingy, and you're going to block out on your calendar 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. every single morning. You're going to do social media. Block it out. It's an appointment. Nobody gets to override that appointment. Okay. Block it out. On your calendar, you're going to create, number 4, when you block this out on your calendar, here's what I do in those 2 hours. I go to my friends and clients pages, and I like and I comment on their posts. I talk to them on their posts, and then I add any information to my CRM. So that's a big deal. I go to my clients, friends, and their pages, and I pop in, and I actually talk to them on their posts and see what they're doing. And I just found out Susie had a baby, and baby was 6 pounds, 8 ounces, and baby's name is Tico. I'm going to go over to the CRM, and I'm going to put that data into my CRM, and I'm going to tell my assistant, let's get a congratulations baby card out to Susie and Joe. So that's the importance of hanging out and knowing to go to all your friends and your clients' pages. And there's a cheat way to do that. Actually, if you go into Facebook, you can actually tag and make a list of, I have 3,000 people on my page. I could actually go in and I can tag all of the ones I want to check daily and make a friends list, and I can hit that and it'll only pop up those friends and I can check only them. So sorry, I'm losing my voice because I've been talking since 6 a.m. this morning already. So the other thing I do is I pop in and I share posts from the other websites onto mine, which we talked about. And then the third thing I do with my social media in the morning is I'm going to add any new content that I want to add. So I go to my friends and clients pages, I share posts from other websites, and I add new content and I bounce out. Make sense? And then number 5, I make a list of things that I want you to make a list of things that you want to create and the type of post you want to put out there. I want you to make a list because it's easier to just go at it. I gave you a list already of the things I do, which is inspirational and the faces of Tucson and local businesses. I use that as my list to inspire me quickly to get stuff on content. Number 6 is make a list of all the websites and the social media sites that you're going to share from. If you have that list, you can click, go see what they have for content and drag it and go. So make a list of all your favorite websites and social media pages that you're going to share to your consumers. If your consumers care about gardening in the backyard with cactus, then find a cactus gardening site. That's totally a Tucson thing. Number 7, I want you to decide what your monthly budget is. And all this stuff I've shown you is free. However, I budget for some of my social media posts on Facebook. I budget $5. So for example, if it's the Faces of Tucson, I actually will put a $10 boost on anybody we put out there, because I want everybody to meet the newest Facebook Faces of Tucson. I want them to meet that person. So I will boost that one for $10. So I have a budget of $40 a month for that. So I know what I'm spending. So I want you to budget if there's what you're going to spend on. And then number 8, you're going to create a signature to copy and paste from a Word doc to go on every post. And you can go cheat off of mine.
2 questions, Tony. Do you, you have a preferred CRM, and would you recommend a resource for building out a time management system?
You know, the funniest thing is that your phone is like the best time organizer ever, because if I have an iPhone, all I do is write in what I'm doing and I block it out and I can hit repeat and it tells me every day what to do. And then when a client calls in and I can see I have a block of time, I'll say to them, I'm available at 10 a.m. tomorrow, or I'm available at 2. It's really cool. So and I'm always carrying it with me, so I use it. It's my time organizer. I think it's the best thing. The reality for me is this is always in my pocket. So I mean, anything I do is going to be in this thing, because I know I'm always going to have it with me no matter what. So
I have a pretty hectic schedule myself, and I have a calendar that's set up with my Outlook account, and obviously have that on my phone. And I just use one single calendar for everything, the things that we're managing with my wife and our family, with business. But leaning on a calendar, like you said, I think is the easiest way. And then you have to be disciplined about not letting those things get missed. But everybody should know that everything we've talked about the last hour and 20 minutes has been recorded live inside the Broker Agent Facebook group. So if there's a part of it that you missed or you wanted to revisit, as soon as we're done, you can go back in the Bragg group and you'll be able to see this and pick a spot. There were a couple questions, Tony, like I missed number 3 or I missed number 5. Can you real quick, without explanation, just list off the 8 things you just said that you would like for this group to take as kind of marching orders?
Yep, I'm going to actually slide them over here, and I'm going to show you something really quick too, because this is the thing that's really what I found to be really cool for doing this marketing. If you click on your friends in your Facebook account, click on friends, and then you go to find friends, and then right here is custom lists. And I just created this yesterday so I could show it to you, but I just called this daily check-in. So I can now go to daily check-in, and I can go to all my friends, and I can check mark all of the friends I want to check in on every day now, right? So I can go through here, check on all my favorites, and hit save changes, and this will pop up this list. So I did this yesterday so you can see, here's 2 close friends. Now I can jump in here in the morning and avoid all of the squirrels and the rabbits and all of the bling bling, and I can just pop into my close friends list, and I can click on Sue and Brian, and I can go check out what they're doing on their pages, and I can go down this entire list, right? So now I stay out of those weeds. So I'll drag this. Does that make sense? Did anybody lose me on that one?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a way to stay out of whatchamacallit. So here's my to-do list right there. I want you to do all this. Who is your consumer? Identifying. So there's your 1 through 8. Matter of fact, if you have screenshot, you could screenshot that right now.
Take a picture with your phone.
Yeah, take a picture with your phone. There's your to-do list. So this is certainly, just so you know how I work, I literally wrote this 1 hour before I popped into this class. I just sat down and just dumped my brain on what I know about these things, because I don't like to plan too far ahead, because in my brain, everything's changing daily. So this is the stuff that came out this morning. There's more, but I wanted to give you like what I think is the best of the best that you need to be working with.
Again, we'll take a recording of this. I'll send it over to Chad at Broker Agent. He'll add it to the YouTube page. It'll then be reposted out inside the Facebook group and likely shared via email with everybody. And there's also inside the Broker Agent Advisor Facebook group right now, this was recorded live. And so you'll have access to go revisit this. Anything else, Tony? It's been great. Like, this is super valuable content.
I'm going to try really, really hard to get these classes down to an hour for you, because I literally, when I teach this one class, this is typically a 3-hour class for me. So I appreciate everybody's time. And this is like I said, the stuff that just popped out this morning. But we can also, Brian, if we want to get this copy to everybody, we can do that too.
Yeah, I think I'm working on with Chad. He's got on his website, he's got a place to save content like this and make it available. And so, I have a copy and we'll intend on having it there as well.
Yeah.
The other thing that was asked, maybe a detailed outline on how to set up your Google My Business would be something else that would be helpful to share, so they don't have to watch the video. That maybe we can give them something that's written and they can follow the instructions. But
we can even just go through the little class next time. What are we doing next time? Email? Let me see.
Yeah, it's up to you. So just so you guys
I
know.
jumped the gun. So let's go to email next, because it's the second page.
Yeah, okay.
I was supposed to, I got myself out of order. So yeah, let's do email next, and we'll talk about email systems and what I use, and which I got one that's so freaking crazy effective. It's not even funny, that I can't wait to share that one. So we'll do email next.
And for you guys that are still here, and there's a bunch of you, I'm impressed. Tony and I hope to do this once a month for 6 months. Obviously everybody's super busy, but he and I will identify a date next month that is going to be convenient, and we'll get that out well in advance, so that if you have an interest in being a part of the next session, certainly would love for y'all to be there. And the same structure will apply. We'll record it and make it available after the class. But Tony, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your willingness just to get out there and try to help people get better. I think that's what community is all about, and you're a great representative for that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You could take a picture of that if that's helpful. I said it so that you can blow it up on your phone.